Currently, you are the director of Zulu Defense and strategic advisor
to RF Nano Composites,
RF Nano Composites.
defense startup. Our firm's main motive is to, tell the world that the future is here, the future has arrived, and we are enabling our special forces, our marine commandos, and our infantry of the Indian Forces. Prisoner who was released from Koth Lakhpat jail in 1990.
Haven't we been too generous to Pakistan in the last 75 years since?
We've learned from our blunders. They take it as a business to serve the nation.
Said that कि साढ़े तो मैनेज नहीं हो रहा.
TTP, BLA, BLF, BRA. They all have come together under one umbrella.
What exactly happened during Operation Sindoor?
They activated the sleeper cell for Pahalgam. It is none of your concern to know what has happened. So you're basically helping the enemy, because your question is what the enemy also wants to know. If you're not in a supportive mode, then you're most welcome to exit and you can apply for a passport of the enemy territory. They'll be very glad to welcome you with open arms.
Samar Paji, welcome back to the Deep Root Talks.
Thank you, Ji. This is my 2.0.
2.0. If we remember last time when we sat on this couch together, Operation Sindoor ode baad.
Yes, immediately.
And you had to rush actually after that.
Yes.
And currently you are the director of Zulu Defense and strategic advisor
to RF Nano Composites.
RF Nano Composites. And you're everywhere. We see you everywhere. And you're a true Indian, I would say.
Courtesy God.
What's happening? Ki chal raha hai aajkal?
बहुत कुछ चल रहा है. I mean, firstly, I'll begin with saying that I am also the Chief Growth Officer in Zulu Defense. So Zulu Defense is a defense startup. And the CEO is Mr. Nagendran Kandasamy, and overall we are 4 partners, and our firm's main motive is to tell the world that the future is here, the future has arrived, and the kind of drones that we are designing and making are state of the art. They're very futuristic, and they're future proof. So that if any new technology comes, it can easily accommodate the certain chipsets into that and function as per the user requirement. And we are enabling our special forces, marine commandos, and our infantry of the Indian Forces, all of them as a component, to become more strong. So we are adding more punch to the fist. So the enemy is going to get it real hard. But the best part is it's all going to be in ghost mode. You wouldn't see it coming.
And this time it is going to be a proper Indian martial artist punch.
I think it will be a decisive one. We don't want to prolong it. We've seen in 1971 that, despite taking the 93,000 prisoners of war, Pakistan failed to give back our 53 prisoners of war, of which one of my unit officer, Major J.S. Malik, was also taken as prisoner of war. He was the company commander of Charlie Company, and he was apprehended at Ghasla Top in Kashmir in 1971 war. And last we heard of him was from a prisoner who was released from Koth Lakhpat jail in 1990. And he came along with a letter and he disclosed it in the Ministry of External Affairs. But it is my humble appeal to the Ministry of External Affairs to go to the Red Cross, to go to the United Nations and ask that where is the accountability of the 53 prisoners of war of 1971, the Indian prisoners of war. Where are they? Last we heard was that Pakistan stooped so low, this nation, named Pakistan, that they actually sent the Indian prisoners of war to various Gulf countries under different names and different acquisitions. And eventually, with time, I think most of the 53 prisoners of war have either, they perished in jail, God forbid, or else they've not been heard of. There have been no communications or anything. So, I certainly feel that the coming war with Pakistan, I don't think we are going to do a mistake of having prisoners of war ever again. Not worth.
Haven't we been too generous to Pakistan in the last 75 years since?
We've learned from our blunders. We've learned from our blunders that this cancerous nation called Pakistan, I somehow don't blame the people of Pakistan because उनकी आवाम मजबूर है. Because it is एक्चुअली क्या है ना कि पाकिस्तान आर्मी ने अब अपना प्रोफेशन एक धंधा बना लिया है. इट्स बिकम क्या कहते हैं धंधा जॉब. इट्स नॉट समथिंग दैट उनकी जो हरकतें हैं, इट डजंट सीम दैट दे टेक प्राइड इन सर्विंग देयर नेशन. दे टेक इट एज अ बिजनेस टू सर्व देयर नेशन.
मैक्सिमम इनके जनरल्स हैं
वो बिजनेस ही हैं.
वो या ऑस्ट्रेलिया में या लंदन में है या किसी और देश में है. वो बस वही होता है कि वो पैसे इकट्ठे कर रहे होते हैं कि बाद में रिटायर होके पाकिस्तान में तो रहते ही नहीं.
That is the thing, that IMF must take note that whatever funding is going to them is definitely going to go, 70% is going to go in the pockets of the military regime. And I think military establishment बोलना बंद करना है, military regime है. And this is going to be the next Ukraine, Pakistan. इनके चीफ अभी वाइस चीफ और वन सीनियर जनरल has already been to the Middle East and to Syria and is in talks to get Al-Qaeda planted in Tira Valley with ISKP to counter Taliban. But they don't realize that it is going to become a battleground where warlords are very active and it is going to be मतलब अभी तो कंट्रोल्ड की देयर इज कंट्रोल्ड chaos
अभी तो
by ISI. It will go beyond control and this is something that is of their creation and probably they don't have an antidote for it.
अभी उनके डिफेंस मिनिस्टर ने बोला ना कि हमारे हाथ से वो निकल चुका है, हम PLA के से नहीं लड़ सकते. इन अ वे ही सेड दैट कि साढ़े तो मैनेज नहीं हो रहा.
नहीं जायज़ जी गल है because there were 11 locations which were attacked in Baluchistan last week. All these areas were places of criticality where the only traffic were these junctions and crossing points, and they led to another highways which were isolated. Their checkposts were put up. So a proper planning was done, and I am very certain that Taliban, TTP, BLA, BLF, BRA, they all have come together under one umbrella to counter the Pakistan military regime. Because ethnic cleansing inni zyada hui hai. मतलब I remember that in Baluchistan ethnic cleansing began by late 90s, probably mid 90s, or much before. But it picked up momentum from 2008 to 2014, where there were documentaries when YouTube had come initially to India in 2008 or 2009. I saw a few documentaries of these truck drivers explaining that on flatbeds, they had containers loaded with Baluchistan middle-aged men, women, children of all ages, elderly, and instead of they used to go into the middle of a deserted patch in Baluchistan off the highway where a JCB had already dug up a pit with the dimensions of the containers, and the Pakistan regime, military regime, was already guarding that spot, and that is where they used to fire through and through the containers till they used to see blood coming out, oozing out from the containers.
So what do you expect?
And then they were lifted and buried inside in the ground. So not a trace. And just in case, God forbid, if anybody was left alive in it, the person would have died alive inside. They were buried alive.
What do you expect from an army? जिन्होंने जब 1948 में भी जब वो कश्मीर पे अटैक जब इन्होंने किया था,
The invaders,
they say, and they didn't claim they were their soldiers. They didn't even claim their soldiers back. So
that happened in Kargil.
There
are video clippings there, and I mean, this is one nation where they have actually set up a proper mechanism of bot farming to counter the Operation Sindoor narrative, because they have badly lost the war in Op Sindoor. Their air power was, I mean, Pakistan would have become a no-fly zone had the Op Sindoor continued for another 48 hours. No-fly zone ho jata, no Pakistani aircraft would have been able to take off from the surface of Pakistan, and they were already finished. That is why the DGMO called out of desperation that let's call it off now.
What exactly happened during Operation Sindoor? There are so many narratives. US says that we were
I'll tell you, see, we all know 7th October in 2023, what happened in Israel.
Yes.
So, I think then in 2025, in the first week of January, Hamas leadership visited Pakistan, and in a place called Muzaffarabad, they were welcomed by Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba leaders. There was a proper address to the modules, the terror modules, and they activated the sleeper cell for Pahalgam, and they deliberately chose a tourist spot similar to the music fest that was taking place in Israel, that it will be crowded.
Okay.
And obviously there was information that these sleeper cells had local assistance also, up to a certain extent. Those people have been apprehended by the NIA. Probably they will never see the light of day. They are going to be in prison for their whole lives, whoever have supported these terror modules, these sleeper cells. So these terrorists who were involved in the massacre of Pahalgam, it happened on 22nd of April. So imagine in January they pay a visit. You have the whole month of February, then you have the whole month of March, and then almost by the end of April, or you can say mid of April, this is what happens. And the tourist spot in Pahalgam was officially to open by May, mid of May, because the snow usually starts melting and then the passes open up. And in fact, passes are in the process of opening up by the mid of April itself.
Yes.
If there are a lot of snow. And now their modus operandi is totally changed. I mean, you had this Lashkar-e-Taiba's breakaway faction called PAFF. They were carrying out attacks in Poonch and Rajouri because majority of the forces had moved up to Sonmarg for accommodating the Amarnath Yatra. So they took advantage of thinning of the security layer in south, that is Jammu, south of Jammu Kashmir. So, and now again, as for logistics are concerned, now they have drones.
They have drones?
Even we have. See, it's no hiding that, it's not that during Op Sindoor the drones came in. It has been happening much prior to that. And they've been doing it. We've been doing it.
In fact, we discussed on our last episode as well, in our last podcast, and coincidentally, it was the same day when Pahalgam, this terrorist attack happened.
Happened, yes.
Yes, and drone warfare played a huge role in Operation Sindoor.
Yes.
And coincidentally, we talked about it at the same time.
Yes.
So अगर हम अभी बात करें कि सिचुएशन ऑपरेशन सिंदूर में उनके भी क्लेम्स है कि हमने रफ़ेल इनके गिराए हैं, हमने ज़्यादा नुकसान किया है, वेयर एज वी नो के कितना नुकसान किया, बिकॉज बीइंग इन इंडिया वी अंडरस्टैंड हमने एयरबेस पे भी किया है, वेयर एज देयर हैव बीन क्लेम्स फ्रॉम इंडिया एज वेल दैट a lot of loss has been done and बहुत इंटरनेशनल रिपोर्ट्स भी आए हैं कि वो जो इंडिया क्लेम कर रहा है वो काफ़ी सही भी है, जो वो
There's been a French journal
हाँ जी,
which has been issued, and in that French journal, it is clearly stated, because this is a journal which has a reputation of fact finding on truth, on exact data available, authentic data available, and their reach to the secret service agencies around the world is quite good. So whatever journal they publish is authentic, and probably whatever our air chief has mentioned regarding the Pakistan casualties, that is exactly verbatim a copy paste, exactly that much that we have claimed has been mentioned in that journal.
exactly.
Exactly. There is nothing more, nothing less. As far as Pakistan is concerned, the column for claimed and the actuals is like, going in north direction and south direction, totally the opposite. So definitely the Pakistanis have exaggerated the numbers. Secondly, I want to just tell one thing to the audience, that why is it that everyone is so bothered or inquisitive to know how much attrition has come to us? It is tactically not viable, it is not wise, it is stupidity to disclose your own losses at the time of war or after war, because it helps the enemy prepare in terms of statistics against the next attack if he plans.
I think this kind of a thing happened during 99 Kargil war as well.
Every time a group has been formed, probably a atmosphere of this. I don't want to name the minister, but we all know who that minister from Delhi was, who said ki Saboot chahiye. So now they call it the Saboot gang. So let me just tell and address the Saboot gang upfront, personal, and on their face, that firstly, you do not have the right to ask, because you've not earned the right. If you are a good citizen, you will go by what the army tells and you trust your military. You are the ones who do not trust the military. That is why you question the military. So firstly, you do not have any respect in the eyes of the patriots and nationalists of India. And this is to the Saboot gang. Secondly, it is none of your concern to know what has happened until unless you start with the tax narrative. Then first you come out and disclose your tax, how much you pay. And let me tell you, the ones who are ranting about Saboot are actually the defaulters in many ways. And what I'm trying to get at is that there are military strategies, there is a certain limit of information that has to be disseminated in a very controlled manner, so that it does not assist the enemy to plan something which can cause us attrition later. So you're basically helping the enemy, because your question is what the enemy also wants to know.
Exactly.
So please if you're an Indian, behave like an Indian, and either you support your nation or you go to a nation where you support them. It's simple and straight. That either you stay here and you support your nation here. If you're not in a supportive mode, then you're most welcome to exit, and you can apply for a visa and a passport of the enemy territory. They'll be very glad to welcome you with open arms. So please, I mean, it was very disappointing to know.
It is actually, Major Toor. I've a very this I wanted before we move further to the geopolitical scenario and whatever is happening and what happened during Operation Sindoor as well. During a crisis like this, when the entire world is in a geopolitical chaos, I think we need to forget our internal conflicts. We need to first understand how vulnerable this situation is, and we all need to be one.
But Supreet ji, I'll tell you one thing. What I have certainly noticed is that, okay, even if you're not in power, I'll not take names of the political parties, even if you're not in power, at least prove that you are worth coming to power. You cannot sit, at the time of work. You cannot be at the wrong place, at the time of work. When you're supposed to work, you're supposed to facilitate the functioning of the government, even if you are in the opposition. You're supposed to be a responsible opposition. But what I've realized is that, there are a lot of cribbing. There is a lot of disgruntlement as well. But the argument is they are not trying to prove their worth. They are trying to just point fingers and say that, the ruling government is wrong. But what is it that you deserve to be at the place of a ruling government? आप में ऐसी क्या खूबी है कि आपको पावर में आना चाहिए? आप वो तो बताओ दुनिया को. They have failed to tell and convince the people and the youth of India that they are worth coming to power. What is their capability as a opposition to what they can achieve and do? There is no planning. There is no blueprint. They do not let the new faces of politicians come up and speak. Those who want to speak, the matured politician like Shashi Tharoor, they don't let him speak because he speaks for the nation. As a politician, as a previous ambassador, diplomat, I have all the respect for Mr. Shashi Tharoor, despite he being from Congress. But you cannot sideline him. I mean, come on, it's not college, it's not school that you have a grudge against someone, so you've taken it to heart. And just because of your incompetency, you've become so stubborn and adamant that you don't want to work. You just want to stop everyone from working because you yourself are not willing to work. I mean, a mechanism has started where, a group of IT cells have been set up only for disrespecting our present Prime Minister. I mean, how can you stoop so low? I mean, when we were young, we were taught that we have to see the Prime Minister with respect, irrespective of the political differences. That individual has been elected to power because he is worth his salt. So you go to a foreign land and you start bad mouthing your own face of the country, the Prime Minister. You mock the President. So they are only digging their political grave even deeper. There is nothing that they are going to come up with something good. Even a school going child, if they think that they are going to brainwash, no. 7th and 8th class kid knows that who's working and who's not, who's cribbing and who's only putting allegations and who's not proving their worth. ऐसे तो काम नहीं चलेगा ना. You can't complain all the time. You got to work to improve and create an atmosphere where the complaints go down. Here, there is no effort being made. Here only you're stopping the critical parliament sessions. You are sitting on dharnas and protests. And I mean, हमें बताया जाता है that parliament is such a pious and a very formal place. You wear your attire as per either you wear a traditional attire, a nationalistic attire, or whatever dress code is there. But people are coming in track pants and t-shirts. वो कॉलेज की कैंटीन थोड़ा है. So people watch. Youngsters are watching. Youngsters are noticing. And they are making a mockery out of their own selves. I mean, it's time to man up. It's time to level up. And face the criticism. Work towards it. Prove your salt. Then win your vote and come to power.
At the same time, there is a perspective about the media as well. उस समय एक मीडिया में ये था कि हम कराची पहुंच गए.
See, I'll tell you. Let me just tell the audience everything that, we all know which journalists did what blunders at the time of Kargil. We know which journalists did a blunder in 26/11.
Yes.
And it was not by design or intent. I mean, it was unintentional. Definitely everybody wanted that. The adrenaline was high. They wanted views. They wanted TRPs. They wanted to, keep the audience up to date. But again, there is a certain level and limit of dissemination of information. You cannot go beyond. Then you might as well wear a GoPro camera and you go inside where the operation is taking place. Why don't you go and stand next to the soldier while bullets are flying around? If that desperation is there to inform and tell, फिर तो आप go in with the teams. That nobody will do.
पर जैसे ये थोड़ी false information भी कि हम कराची पहुंच
That was the sarcastic one that I'm trying to say. That will not happen also. But what I'm trying to say is, everybody saw the movie Dhurandhar.
हाँ जी.
Everybody heard the original clip, the audio recordings of the handlers and the terrorists. So what I'm trying to say is that there have been certain parameters which have been now set by Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. That there is a limitation to everything. And one more thing is that when a country goes to war, it was decided, I will not name the agencies, that at no time will the actual plan or intent of our forces will be revealed to the enemy, come what may. And hats off to all the media houses. I come on Republic TV as a panelist, and I also know a journalist from other publications. Aditya Raj Kaul is there, Gaurav Sawant is there, and Rakshita is there, and then Arnab is again a class apart, and Deepak Chaurasia ji is there. So I mean, I know a vast number of journalists from all the media houses. And I think everybody did a fabulous job.
पर कई बार ये कहते हैं कि exaggeration ज़्यादा कर दी जो चीज़.
I think that it's okay. I mean, till the time you are keeping the enemy in the dark, till the time you are keeping the enemy confused, till the time you are keeping the enemy guessing, till the time you are keeping the enemy on his toes, on tenterhooks, and you got the enemy guessing every second कि अब क्या होने वाला है, अब क्या होने वाला है. I think the media has done an amazing job in Op Sindoor. Irrespective of Karachi ले लिया, हम तो कहेंगे कि Baluchistan has been liberated. Baluchistan is a free nation today. Baluchistan is a liberated country. It has an independent flag. It has its independent military.
Is it actually now?
Obviously.
Okay.
The Pakistanis ran away. Their presence was hardly there. So
Pakistan is now officially divided in a way.
It is divided in a way. There were no Pakistani soldiers there when the Baluchistan Liberation Army came. The masses welcomed them. They have been systematically, ethnically cleansing them. The police stations go house to house and note the ages of the boys and girls, mid-age females, mid-age men. And the start of ethnic cleansing was to first remove the threat. So they started making men and boys disappear from the community. Harassments began. There is hardly any electricity in Baluchistan. They have not set up the basic infrastructure. If they have put up a CPEC highway, it cuts out the villages with no connectivity towards the highway. They build barriers along the highways, left and right.
So they're not allowed.
Yeah, so how can the villagers then get onto the highway and you utilize the CPEC route? You are denying them the highway, you are denying them accessibility, and due to that, there is no way how you can reach to the villages now which are en route to the CPEC. There are no villages, there is no medical setup, there is no provision for getting electricity to these places. Schools are closed.
So what is the current map of Pakistan now, officially or unofficially also?
See, Baluchistan is an independent nation. Please go on my X Twitter handle, Samar Toor 3086. There is an extract of the history of Baluchistan, and at the time of 1947, they were given an option to separate from Pakistan. But the Pakistan politicians never let that referendum come into the foray and in the foresight.
Yes, true, very true.
As a result, the Baluchistan independence kind of died its own death by silence and by not letting the referendum and all take place. They were independent from before.
I think even Lord Mountbatten back then he said in a statement after Jinnah died maybe, or that if the world would have known about Jinnah's health issue, probably the partition wouldn't have happened. So
Now let me tell the audience, Supriji, that the lineage of Jinnah belongs to a Hindu family.
he was a Gujarati.
Yes, and he was the second generation as a Muslim. Otherwise, his grandfather was a Hindu.
His grandfather was a Hindu.
Yes, it's documented. It's there on Wikipedia and everything. On the in the history chronicles, go read. His lineage is a Hindu lineage.
And he was not a religious fanatic as well.
No, he is a person who used to wear Western clothes, and he used to consume beef and pork also. It has been documented. Well, he was a westernized mindset individual, and he was not a very religious practicing Muslim. He wasn't. The reason why he wanted Pakistan to be created was so that he has a political longevity till the time he is there in politics. And he wanted that certain land and that nation called Pakistan purely under him. It's just that, he passed away the moment Pakistan was created. I think after a year or two, he passed away.
Yes.
So if you tend to consume alcohol, you tend to smoke cigars, you tend to consume pork and bacon, and you have a very flamboyant lifestyle, and you dress up and you talk and walk like a Westerner, there was nothing Pakistani about Jinnah.